So we're going to speak to Rui Alves now. Rui is a data engineer for Formula E. He's been involved with Formula E from its inception, and he was a strategy engineer at championship-winning Audi as well.
So yeah, so we heard a lot of, let's say, it's theoretical stuff from Garrett. So let's go a bit more deeper, like our last speech, to go. How do we help the driver to go faster? Because in the end, in the racing, is what you want is to go faster. So oh, here we go. So experience. So I've done some GT in Spain. I started directly from out of university. I did some Le Mans racing. Then I jumped to GP2, now known as F2, as a performance engineer, working with young drivers. Was quite a good experience. And then I jumped into Formula E. So since the beginning, I was there. I did 69 races, whatever, in which I won a driver title with Lucas Di Grassi. I also won, well, I participated in one team title with Audi. And now I'm kind of in between projects, as known as looking for a new job, let's say it, put it this way. So Formula E, there's a lot of people that are not, I say it, that don't know Formula E. So Formula E develops everything in one day, okay? So it's really important to extract everything from all the moments, for all the minutes you have on the track. So you have all the simulation done before, yeah, true. But then you need to have quick decisions, and you are not allowed to have a one night sleep to go through simulation on stuff like this. Normally everything in one day. So we have practice sessions, then we have qualifying, where we kind of tend to compare your drivers against the competition, against each other in the team. And then you have a bit of Formula E is also different. So you have this poor performance stuff, and then you have the energy saving. So the races are done that you need to save energy. So there's a lot of energy compare and how each team is using their energy. And also in the race, it's point 4 on this case, is the attack mode monitor. It's something that, because Formula E only races in city tracks, it's like racing in Monaco every time. So like Garrett said, it's really hard to overtake. So then we have this attack mode stuff that helps the driver to overtake and plays a bit of strategy. So we are not just racing in the train. So just to explain a bit more in detail, so formally it's one-day event. We have the free practice, 45 and 30 minutes, and in which we are only allowed, so you can run in normal mode. This is the 200 kilowatts, but then you can run in the 250 mode on quali. That's what you're going to use in quali. So it's the fastest, but you are only allowed to have 2 times. So you can do all the practice you need, but then you can only allow 2 times to go full in 250. And this is really, so you need to use these 2 as, you know, in the best way possible, because you can only feel how the car is behaving when you're going into the limits. You know, a lap in 200 is not going to feel the same as the 250. So you need to exploit everything there. Then you have the qualification, where you just have 1 lap, 250, and the top 6 go to Super Pole, and then in there they have another go in 250, and then the fastest on this part of the qualification will be in the pole, let's say at P1. And then you have the race, and the race is not so of power driven, is more of energy driven. So you need to save energy. The lengths of the races are done in the way that you need to save. You cannot just go flat out, you will run out of energy. Okay, so there's a lot of playing there also in between the teams. The races are 45 minutes plus 1 lap. And in there, that, like I said before, so you have normal race mode, around 270 horsepower. And then you have the attack mode. It's a limited time where you have an extra boost, where you can change the way your race is going. Let's say you can try to overtake, or you can defend from the guy behind. So it's something nice to spice a bit the races. So like I said, Formula E, it's one-day event. And I want to highlight that it's only in cities, on road tracks, most of the races. It's like racing in Monaco all the year. And it's narrow tracks, it's bumpy. So it's really important to be, like I said, to have a good position on the qualification. And the conditions of the track, they tend to change a lot. So as the cars go by, remember it was a normal track just outside on your street. So as the cars go around and around, more rubber is being on the track, and the grip is increasing a lot. And this is important, or this is why live timing information to the driver is important. Okay. Another thing is the growing series. So we have 8-9 events per year, but every time since the beginning is on 1 or 2 tracks are new, and this means that you don't have the data that for example F1 have. Okay, this year was a bit different, but normally they go to tracks they know, they have raced there for years. On Formula E, that doesn't. It's also a new series, so it's normal that you're not racing in the same cities for ages. Only started 6 years ago, but every year you have 1 or 2 tracks that are new, and you need to be quick to react. You cannot, and because you don't have a night over, you need to make the decisions directly in the way that it increases your performance. So how do we use SBG? So SBG develops a software that reads there's the timing data coming from the championship supplier. In this case is Alcamel. So they supply some messages, and we use the race watch, and okay, taking what Garrett already took. So they send a lot of information. So they take race control messages, so to know where's a yellow flag in some part of the track, because remember this is city, so it's most of the corners are blind, so you need to inform your drivers if there's some problem somewhere on the track. You get the weather, like normal information, so it's important for the teams to know if the track is getting hotter, it's getting cooler, or if the wind is picking up, something like this. And then you have the most important, and where I'm going to focus more, it's the timing messages. So you have the lap times, you have the sectors, because remember, this is not like you are playing your PlayStation. You are playing your PlayStation, you know which position you are, you know the time you did, you know if you are getting better or not compared to the competition. In this case, you don't. You just know you have the drivers have their dashboard that only has information of their previous laps, but they don't know anything. They don't know, apart from looking at the other cars, what the other guys are doing. And then you have GPS position. That is always really important on this case. And again, it's during live sessions, you don't have okay, we have a lot of data from the car. We have more than 2,000 sensors on the car, and this is a big amount of data. You have all the little degrees that the driver change on the steering wheel on this part of the track, but you don't have that live. You only have it when the car comes to the track, comes to the box, to the garages. So the only data that you get is from the timing. Okay, you have some stuff, telemetry data that comes from the car. It's more of reliability stuff. It's not really performance. So you're going to exploit everything that the data is from the timing is giving to you. So let's go into an example. So this is free practice. We are in Saudi Arabia. We are in Riyadh. It's free practice 1. You are in the middle of the session. This is like an example. So we have my friend Da Costa, my Portuguese driver, and he just finishes his lap. He's done 1:21.205. And what the drivers do then, and they do like Garrett also showed before, so they do some push laps, and then they will come on the radio and say, okay, how was that lap compared to the competition? And on this on this screen, you can see that his was complete green, so it was his perfect lap, let's say it, but he's 1.1 from P1, so he still is quite far. And then you try to take the information to him, and in a way that he can improve his performance. So how can you do this? So let's look on the sectors. So the first thing is you're looking on the sectors, and you see the difference to the P1 in each sector. So he's losing he lost on the sector 1 4 tenths to, this is Roland. On the second sector, he lost 6 tenths, and then on the third sector, he lost 3 tenths. So let's focus on sector 2. We are going to give him this information, but saying, okay, sector 2 is the point where I'm losing more. And the driver will think, okay, so sector 2 is from there to there. He knows that on these corners, he's going to, to find something. But what if we had more sectors? And this is what we have actually on Formula E. So the timing feed, they actually gave us 8 sectors. So you can actually be more precise on the information that we give to Antonio. And you can say to him, okay, as you can see here, so on his biggest loss is on this sector, as losing actually almost 5/10 to Buemi, that is the fastest guy on that part of the corner of the track. And that part of the track goes from turn 12 to the entry of turn 16. So we can say to Antonio, okay, Antonio, actually the biggest loss that we are having now is between turn 12 and turn 16. But then he will go on his mind, he will think, well, but is it on the entry or 14, or is it 15, or exactly? If you could feed the driver a bit more information, it will get better. So we actually can do that, because with the GPS position and with what SBG give us, is they calculate the speed. So for the guys that are not used to this kind of graphic, so on X you will have the position on the track, so in all the corners there, so from 0 to in this case to 2,500 meters, that is a complete lap. So we will see the speed that he added on this fastest lap in all points of the track. Okay, and then on the Y you are going to have the speed that he was on that point of the track. So in here we can see exactly what was this difference to the fastest guy on that sector, that was Buemi. So I can see actually that the most time that he was losing was on the braking for turn 16. Okay, so now it's more, at this point, Antonio knows exactly where he needs to go faster. Is much better information that give him a space on the track that he can get faster. We are going to tell him exactly, Antonio, you are losing too much time on the entry of 16. You need to be more aggressive. And also the GPS position. Okay, this is a calculation of the position. It gives also the position. So you can maybe tell him also. So that will be his weak point, let's say it. Then we can actually see, because we have the position, so we can also say to him what he needs to do in terms of driving lines. And on this case, we can see that he's on red, so he's driving a bit of a wider line on entry of turn 16. We can say to him, you can attack more on entry and keep your tight line on the inside, because remember, this is road track. The grip is increasing every time. So Buemi found a way earlier than him that it's faster doing that than going on the outside. And this is really important. So we actually gave Antonio a way to, increase his performance, and he didn't needed to come to the garages to download the data and lose time. So when he has this information, he can try already on the next lap to do this. So this is the good example of how you have the data and you give to the driver and you have results, and on the next lap you can improve his performance on this point of the track. So also I talked about the energy. So this is an example, for example, of applying the GPS speed to the race. So in here you can see how this is two drivers from two different teams, how they manage differently the way of lifting. So the way is the driver, they cannot go flat out in the race, they need to save. So again, here is, you see, for example, Sims is the blue line, is using a bit more energy before turn 1 and before turn 16, while Jean-Ric Verne is using a bit the extra energy, staying flat on before turn 18. So this is, you can give this information to the driver, and if he's behind, you can think, okay, he's lifting more there, so maybe it's a good way, you can save some energy and then try to overtake him on that point. But like I said before, so let's jump on the attack mode, because sometimes using only this is not enough to overtake. So we have that extra boost of the during the race. And what is the attack mode? So the attack mode is, you go through this kind of, okay, people make fun of it, they call it Mario Kart thing, but it's really nice. So what you need to do is you need to go to a certain area on the track where you activate your attack mode, and from that point on you have 4 minutes, and you have that 2 times on the race. So you can change, sometimes it's 3 times, but the most common is 2 times. So you have 2 times the chances to go, with more power than normal. Okay, so you need to use this wisely. But the other thing you need to do is to know what the other guys are doing. And the only information you have, this is just a good comparison between a normal lap and a lap with the 250. So you can see in terms of before turn 18, This is Sam Bird 2 laps. So you can see he's actually 70 k's faster by the end of the straight. It could go even faster if he stayed flat out, but again, because this is a racing situation, he needed to save some. So this is how big of a difference he makes a lap in 250 or 235 on the attack mode is 235 against 200. So the information we have from the TV is you have this on the left side. So you can see that Lotterer has 4 chevrons. That means that he activated his attack mode and he's in between 3 minutes and 4 minutes. And see, for example, Vern is only 3 chevrons. So this means he's between 2 minutes and 3 minutes. So it's not really accurate. And then only when he gets to the last minute, you will have the more accurate seconds. So you see Massa is 13 seconds to go. But what SBG gave us is actually they can calculate exactly the time that is missing from each driver of the attack mode and how many attack modes. So you can see here a much more accurate information. So we have Lotterer, he has actually 3 minutes and 48 seconds. And we have, for example, Jeff is already on the second attack mode and he's 2 minutes and 39 seconds. And again, for example, Massa, you see the 30 seconds, but you can see that he still is his first attack mode. So he still has 1 to use, okay? Then you can say to your driver, if he needs to defend or if it's defending from a driver that is on the attack mode, how long that attack mode lasts, or if he's attacking someone, you can tell him, okay, the car in front is 1 minute less attack mode. So you can wait and then on the last minute you can attack because you know he's going to be back into the to normal race mode. So this is like 2 good examples on how the information that you're getting from the championship supplier, in this case Alcomel again. So this giving this information, how you can use this information to transmit to your driver and increase your performance to gain positions to finish ahead of the other guys that you are racing on the same track. So thank you. Feel free to bomb in with some questions.
Thank you very much, Rui. I am a complete Formula E novice, so I definitely have learned quite a bit from there. In terms of first question for me, so coming into Formula E, was race watch something that you kind of came into the sport with, or has been a more recent development in the last few seasons?
No, we kind of it was a big development. So when we started, we didn't add anything. We just have the timing screens from the TV, and only on when I moved to Audi by season 2, I started to play with this, and it was a big improvement because you start to have all this information on your side. And before, again, we had to wait for the car. We only had the 3 sectors that you see on the timing screens, the standard timing screens. That's what you have. And you needed to calculate yourself, and you needed to do a lot of on your side to give the information to the driver, but not with this level of detail. Right now this is a big step, and we can tell the driver that in each corner he needs to improve, and even before he get to the stands, and you know that exactly when he does it.
Yeah. And in terms of, actually, sorry, we've got a question here from John Francis. Great insights, Rui. What does your process look like after the driver has finished?
Okay, when the driver is finished, then you have the data from the car. So maybe there was a reason why he was not going quicker there, but then you have some more. You can look into each sector more closely. So we had 8 sectors there, so 8 mini sectors, and you cannot go through all of them before giving the information because one lap is quite short. I mean, even if he's on the cool down, let's say it's to prepare his next lap, you will not have more than 1 minute. Okay, so you need to be really quick to look at the data and tell where is the biggest problem. And what you do after the session is you have more time to go into detail in each sector. So then you can build a bit more the process of telling the driver where he needs to get better. And afterwards, remember, you have this, in the end, we have 3 levels of power. And on the practice, you have the 200 laps, you have the 235, that is the attack mode, then you have the 250. So then you need kind of SBG also allows you that is they identify in which power level you are. So you can immediately say, okay, you can on the 200 lap, you were like this, this is your weakest point on the 200 lap, but then you can change for the 250 example, for the 250 lap. So you need to address those two separate ways of racing, the race and the qualifying.
Got it. And do you, as an engineer, kind of after a bunch of races, do you look at like a large amount of data to see if there are any similarities in areas of which your drivers are slow in, or is it very much just track to track understanding kind of in real time that you can give them feedback?
No, the tracks are quite different. So you tend to say where tracks are more demanding on tire, for example, you can see a trend, or when tracks are more fast corner and you have more slowest, like more of hairpins. This you tend to see if there's a difference, or if there's a trend in the average speed of a sector, to see how your cars perform there, in using all the tracks across the year. So during the year, you will separate it in slow corners, high speed corners, medium speed corners, and then you can find there if there's a trend or if there's a weak point on your car that you need to work a bit more hard than the other one.
Nice. And this, I mean, this is slightly different because obviously you were talking around like this essentially is around a strategy for attack mode. Do you use similar data to understand like when you should be looking to overtake or things like that? Like, is that very much within the scope of the software in your role as well?
No, I mean, so what you see what the other guys are doing in terms of attack modes, and because you have the attack modes, and then you have the way you manage your energy. So you can have guys in normal mode attacking more, or guys that save that. So in 200 they are doing extra saving to go even more faster with with the attack mode. So this you can see directly from the data. So you can see, this guy is saving, and you will, once he goes into in the attack mode, he will have a much faster pace that a guy that is putting a lot of effort or using more energy in 200. And then on the 235, you will need to save. You always need to save. So you can see that from the data also live, what each driver is doing.
Got it. Okay. Awesome, Rui. Thank you very much.